Okay, so as you can see, we are recording this session, so we make them available afterwards on our YouTube channel typically. So you're always invited to go back and watch this session or any of our previous learning series sessions throughout the years. They're always great to catch up on some technology if you missed a session, or share with any of your colleagues that also might be interested. Um, my name is Wayne Welk, automation specialist out of New Orleans. I'm just going to do the traditional kickoff here as far as a few slides as to what's coming up next. Then we'll turn it over to our guest speaker in just a few moments. Today's topic is around edge analytics. We call it the edge analytics update. It also touches a little bit of cloud in there too. So we'll have edge analytics and cloud covered today. Get the right screen going. So as we show always, our learning series schedule, we only have a couple of topics left in the year. We traditionally end our learning series season in October because once November comes, there's automation fair, and then December is holiday mode. So we usually wrap up around October. So this month, of course, is around edge analytics, and next month we'll have a process update. There'll be a lot of things to cover there. I think the 5.3 release of Plant PX should be out, or maybe is out already, but soon to be out, as well as some other updates around Plant PAX and our process solutions. September will be a drives update, and October is our Automation Fair preview, a little bit of a glimpse as to what will come with Automation Fair this year. The link on the screen there is where you can go to see the schedule, register, and again, we just invite you to go to reynoldsonline.com and visit our resources page for all the archives and of previous topics as well. So we mentioned Automation Fair. I've been kind of plugging this here over the last couple of sessions. So, Automation Fair this year is in Anaheim, California. The dates are November the 18th through the 21st. And the schedule, the event agenda is also kind of come out here recently. And if you're kind of unfamiliar with some of the changes that happened on Automation Fair last year, they've extended the event from Monday through Thursday. This year, the floor expo will be open from Tuesday through Thursday. Traditionally, it was Wednesday and Thursday only, so an extra day for the expo on that Tuesday. And there's also advanced training sessions available throughout the week. So there are general access sessions, which are included with the general access admission for the Automation Fair. But if you are interested in some advanced training, you can add that to your when you register and take advantage of the advanced training sessions throughout the week. So details and registration. So registration is going to probably open up here in August, late August probably. So just keep reaching out to your local automation specialists or sales account managers for any additional information around the Automation Fair if you're interested in attending this year. Okay, and with that, I'm going to turn over the rest of the presentation to our guest presenter. Shayla George is a technology consultant with Rockwell Automation, and she's going to lead our presentation from here. We're going to have a quick bump as we change presentations over. So I'll turn over to Shayla.
All right. So good morning, everyone. Let's see. Can everyone see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay. How about now?
Hmm.
It says you're sharing. It says
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, sorry. Am I?
No. It says I'm sharing.
Oh, I don't see it. Mike, did anybody else see it? If not, I'll get it out on mine. Oh, there.
Still looks like it's your screen. Well, it does say Shayla down on the bottom though.
I'll stop sharing and try to share again.
Yeah, sounds good. As usual, we're a well-oiled machine here.
How about now?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks. All right. Now we'll give it over to Shayla.
All right. Good morning, everyone. As Wayne said, my name is Shayla George. I am a software and controls technology consultant for Rockwell. And today we'll be talking about some of the product offerings that we have that fit into our edge and analytics portfolio, as well as some cloud-based offerings as well. So here, just a little agenda to kind of go over what products we'll talk about. We'll start out with talking about some of our edge offerings, or some of our offerings in our portfolio that can give you some of the edge capability. So starting off with FactoryTalk Optics, embedded edge compute module in conjunction with FactoryTalk Optics, and as well as FactoryTalk Edge Manager. Then we'll jump into some of our analytics offerings with Guardian AI as well as Logix AI. And then lastly, we'll jump into a cloud offering which is FactoryTalk Data Mosaics. So first things first, FactoryTalk Optics. Some of you may have heard of, some of you may be familiar with FactoryTalk Optics, but FactoryTalk Optics can be a number of things. It is a software development platform, but as well as that, it is a collaborative development environment. So it allows you to centrally create and remotely manage applications that run locally. It can also be embedded on HMI graphic terminals. So we do have FactoryTalk Optics panels that you can embed an optics application on, as well as an embedded edge compute module. So optics can be embedded on those modules and allow for easy and fast deployments. So with all this being embedded on those terminals, as well as the embedded edge compute module, this is all running at the edge. So it gives you that edge data transformation node, which enables the connectivity and contextualization of data and allows for the flow of data up into the cloud. So with optics, it's very flexible, customizable, and so there's several different options that you have within optics. So as far as your designing options, there's flexibility as far as how you design an optics application. Our traditional HMI offerings require you to have the software installed on your PC. With optics, that's no longer a requirement. There are two options where you can install the software on your PC and do the designing and the development and deployment from there. But you also have the flexibility as to being able to do that designing and deploying and testing in the cloud. So we have a standard version of FactoryTalk Optics that is available and complimentary to everyone. So you just download it and install it on your laptop, and you can get started with the development and testing of an application. And then we also have a professional version of Optics Studio, which it's a subscription cost. So there's a yearly cost that's associated with it, and it's per user. As far as deploying, the deployment options, so the nice thing with optics is that you can create an application one time, and then you have the flexibility to deploy it to several different devices. So as I mentioned, you can deploy an optics application to an optics panel, an embedded edge compute module. It can be deployed to our awesome 6300 line of industrial PCs. It can be deployed to third-party industrial PCs. It supports both Windows and Linux operating systems. And so what's nice about this is if you think about with View and Me, when you're creating an application for a panel view, you have to specify what type of panel view that the application is being deployed to. And then if you later decide that you want to deploy it to a different type of panel, you have to go back into the development environment and change some of those settings. With optics, that's not a requirement. So from day one, once you start developing your application, you don't necessarily have to know what you're deploying the application to. You have the ability to deploy it to any device that is compatible with FactoryTalk Optics. From a graphical standpoint, it's very customizable to the point where you can really customize it to fit your needs or the needs of the application. There are style sheets and templates that are available for you to use, but then you also have the ability to customize and create your own style sheets and templates, save them into what we call a library. And if you need to use them multiple times or in another project or application, you can pull those from the library and use those. And then as far as extensibility, it really extends beyond just communicating to Rockwell devices. So when you think back to View Me or specifically View SC, if you want to communicate to a third-party device, you have to have the use of Kepware, so an additional piece of software to kind of do that communication flow that for the flow of that communication. With FactoryTalk Optics, that's not a requirement. So Optics does have the built-in drivers that allows for you to communicate to Rockwell devices, so controllers, control Logix controllers, compact Logix, micro Logix, micro Logix, both the micro Logix and micro 800 family. But additionally, from a third-party standpoint, there are native third-party drivers inside of Optics that also give you that ability to communicate to those third-party devices. If there is a need to communicate to a third-party device that it does not have a native driver inside of Optics, Optics does support OPC-UA. It's built completely on top of the OPC-UA champion specs. So you can Optics can serve as a server or a client to serve that data and allow for that machine-to-machine communication, as well as MQTT protocol. So if that is a protocol that's needed to allow for the flow of data, Optics does support that. Natively today it's not done natively, it's done through custom scripting. So Optics is an open API that allows for you to do custom scripting using C#. So for MQTT, or if there are customizable features and functionalities that are not native to Optics, using C#, you can do that customization. But with MQTT, in one of the later releases, I believe it's 1.6, the MQTT protocol will become native. And so it won't require you to have to do that custom scripting. Another nice thing about Optics is that unlike our traditional software, we have the ability to do quarterly updates. So with those quarterly updates, new features and functionalities are being added into FactoryTalk Optics. So recently, 1.4 came out the beginning of last month, and this is just the highlight of some of the features and functionalities that were included into FactoryTalk Optics in that release. So when there are releases, the product group has them in 4 different groups as the core capabilities, expanded architectures, digital design experience, as well as the data connectivity. So what you'll see here are some of the features or enhancements that were added into version 1.4 of FactoryTalk Optics. So from a core capability standpoint, there were enhancements to capabilities as far as alarm shelving and the alarm widgets, additional pieces of additional languages that were added in for supporting. So Optis does support multiple languages. From a data connectivity standpoint, so as I mentioned, you can, the microcontroller driver, allowing you to communicate to micro 800 and micro Logix controllers, that was added in natively in 1.4, as well as the direct connectivity to PowerFlex drives through PowerFlex drive scripting. And I'll talk a little bit about that here in a few seconds. So again, this is just a highlight of the features and functionalities that were included inside of FactoryTalk Optics 1.4. And again, these are quarterly releases. So each quarter there is a release with new features and functionalities. So to highlight some of the dive deeper into some of the features that were included in 1.4, one big thing was the device library. So support for device libraries and those faceplates were included in release 1.4 FactoryTalk Optics. So this is for both power devices and safety devices. And so now you can use those faceplates into bring those into your Optics HMI. And this is done by going to the PCDC, which is the Product Compatibility and Download Center online. So you would download the power device and safety libraries from there and then integrate them into FactoryTalk Optics and have the ability to use those faceplates in your HMI application. So for the power devices, so this was version 3.05 of that library. And in the top right corner, you'll see what some of those faceplates look like. But examples of the supported devices that have faceplates that are compatible with optics would be your E300s, the PowerFlex drive, so like your 525s, the 755 family, some of your 6000T and 7000 drives. There's also device libraries for the motion drives, so kinetics and armor kinetics drives, power monitors, and different things of that nature. Also, we do have what is called a feature preview. So what a feature preview is that it's a feature that's not native in the latest release, but it's coming. So it, probably released in the next version, it'll be coming, but it is available to you as a feature. So with the feature preview, if you enable feature previews, you can also have access to the extended tag properties for these faceplates and devices. Moving on to kind of highlight some of the safety device libraries. So with the version 1.05 of the safety device libraries, these faceplates were integrated into 1.4 FactoryTalk Optics. So some of those instructions you'll have would be safety match, the dual channel input stop instruction, safe torque off instructions. And again, these the same as the power device libraries, you download them from the PCDC and integrate them into FactoryTalk Optics. And also you can have access to the extended tag properties for these as well using the enabling the feature preview inside of FactoryTalk Optics. And the last component that I wanted to highlight as a part of the 1.4 release of FactoryTalk Optics was the direct drive connectivity. So using a custom script that is provided to you inside of the library, there is a drive script, a direct drive script that allows for you to connect directly to PowerFlex drives. The drives that are supported are the 755, the 755TM, the 7000 and the 6000T drive. One thing to be mindful of is that this direct connectivity using that script is only supported with Windows right now. So if you were using the optics panel or embedded edge compute module, then this script or the direct drive connectivity would not be supported. As it stands today, it's only if you're using Windows operating system. But using this direct connectivity, it gives you access to the drive information and those specific parameters that you can use inside of your application. As I mentioned, there are certain terminals that are dedicated for FactoryTalk Optics. So we have the optics panels, and there's two types of optics panels. There's the compact panel as well as the standard panel. So the compact panel is a smaller panel. It ranges, you have the option for a 4.3 or a 7-inch. And the nice thing about both the optics panels and the embedded edge compute module is that when you purchase the device, the license for the runtime application comes with it. So with your optics compact panel, it comes already pre-configured for a small runtime license, but you do have the flexibility to be able to upgrade it to a medium-sized runtime. And with your Optix standard panel, there's a little bit more of a range as far as sizes. So they range from 7-inch all the way up to 21.5-inch. And this particular panel comes pre-configured and ready for a medium-sized runtime, but you can upgrade it to a large. And then the last dedicated hardware or device that comes already pre-configured for FactoryTalk Optics is the embedded edge compute module. So as you can see, this is a module that sits right inside of the Control Logix chassis. And it comes already pre-configured or pre-ready for an extra small application, but you do have the flexibility to upgrade it to a small, medium, or large type of application. Um, so uh, to kind of move along and talk a little bit about what the embedded edge compute module brings you. So as I mentioned, it sits in the Control Logix chassis, so there is no dedicated HMI or piece of glass when you have the embedded edge compute module. But you do have options for it. So you can, if there is a need for an HMI option, embedded edge compute module does allow for that through the use of web clients. So Optix has web clients, so you can pull up a HMI application from the web browser and have that ability to see an HMI from a web client. Um, Additionally, maybe if you just want to use it as a communication bridger, so bridging data from machine to machine or getting data up to the cloud, you could use that embedded edge compute module, have a headless application, and using things like OPC UA or MQTT to bridge that data. Also, as far as remote support or remote maintenance. So with both the embedded edge compute module as well as the Optix panels, they all come with FactoryTalk Remote Access, which is Rockwell's remote access solution that gives you the ability to remotely access a system, or depending on if you have the professional version of remote access, then you can remotely access the system and other devices that are on that network. So with the embedded edge compute module, you could also just use this as an entry point for that remote connectivity using FactoryTalk Remote Access. Here, just kind of highlighting or getting a visual representation of what some of those use cases might be. So as I mentioned, maybe just a data collector doing some of that data bridging and getting data from either the plant floor up to the cloud, or getting data from one vendor to another, doing that machine to machine communication. The different protocols that you have again would be OPC UA as well as MQTT, depending on what the need is there. So from an enterprise standpoint, we talk about FactoryTalk Optics and the different options that Optics gives you and the capabilities that it allows. But here, this is just a graphical representation. So when you're talking about, machine to machine communication or communicating to third party apps or HMIs, how you can use Optics. So you might have Optics on a panel, so a machine in a machine form on the Optics panel on one site, and then across some of the other sites, you might have FactoryTalk View or other third party HMI applications. And then in the center, you can use FactoryTalk Optics to view that communication bridger to bridge that data across those different applications, as well as get that data up into the cloud, which is Rockwell's cloud environment, would be FactoryTalk Hub. And inside of our cloud, we have different softwares that are available for development or even dashboarding and visualization. So things like data mosaics, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Some of the apps that sit on top of FactoryTalk data mosaics, along with some of our design software that's also inside of FactoryTalk Hub. But additionally, you don't have to necessarily connect to Rockwell's FactoryTalk Hub or Rockwell's Cloud. You can also connect to other different cloud data sources as well to bridge that data and use that information. All right, so moving on to talk a little bit more about some of the edge components of it, or the edge connectivity. So as you're moving into edge and using those edge devices, so Rockwell has a edge management solution known as FactoryTalk Edge Manager, and so this is where this software is used to manage devices. So maybe that's onboarding or provisioning the edge devices that you're deploying different applications to, doing some of that fleet management. So as you kind of build up your fleet of edge devices, you want to have one centralized location where you can manage those edge devices easily and quickly. Edge Manager allows for that. And then at the same time, it's all wrapped around, the security for both IT and OT convergence. To get a idea of what what a FactoryTalk Edge Management Manager solution might look like. So from the cloud inside of FactoryTalk Hub, this is where FactoryTalk Edge Manager sits. And again, inside of FactoryTalk Edge Manager, this is where you would be doing that fleet management, provisioning and onboarding those edge devices, as well as deploying any type of edge applications. So Rockwell does have several edge applications that you can use Edge Manager to deploy it. But additionally, we also have there's the ability to have third-party edge applications, as well as custom edge apps that can be also deployed to your edge devices using FactoryTalk Edge Manager. And then at the edge node, so your edge node, that is whether it is a Rockwell edge device or a piece of a third-party edge device that has the edge operating system sitting on it, and it's compatible with the Rockwell devices, Rockwell hardware or software. This is where you would have the deployment of the edge applications, and where the edge applications would be sitting. So with FactoryTalk Edge Manager, there are two options as far as what type of hardware is compatible or what you can use. From a Rockwell standpoint, we do have pre-validated or certified edge devices in our awesome 6300B family that you have both i3 and i7 platforms for those. Additionally, you can also use your own edge device that's a third-party edge piece of hardware. We can validate it to be compatible with FactoryTalk Edge Manager and give you the same functionalities as if you were using a Rockwell Edge device. And as I mentioned, there are Rockwell apps that are available inside of the Edge Marketplace that is in FactoryTalk Edge Manager. So we have global apps. So the global apps, these would be the Rockwell apps, as well as we have our partners have some apps that are available as well that can be deployed through FactoryTalk Edge Manager. And then there is a local application marketplace. And so inside of the local application marketplace, this would be where those third-party apps that customers may want to use, or even custom third-party apps. So if you have you made your own custom applications that you want to be able to deploy using FactoryTalk Edge Manager, these would be in that local marketplace. So here is just a synopsis or a highlight of some of the edge applications that Rockwell has today. There are more that will be coming, but we have an edge application for Logix AI, which we'll talk about a little bit, as well as Guardian AI. There is a Optics container edge app that can be deployed through FactoryTalk Edge Manager that's available, as well as data mosaics. So there are several different apps that we have that sit on top of data mosaics that can be deployed from FactoryTalk Edge Manager. And there will continue to be more that potentially come into the marketplace. So Guardian AI. So right now, analytics is definitely a hot topic. as far as, being able to get predictive maintenance and things of that nature. So Guardian AI is Rockwell's solution for predictive maintenance. We are using our smart drives and smart systems to be able to deliver that predictive maintenance. And how this is done is we are leveraging our existing PowerFlex drives. There are certain drives that are compatible. We'll continue to be integrating additional PowerFlex drives. So we're leveraging them as a sensor. So there's no need for you to buy additional sensors to be able to do that predictive maintenance. It's basically empowered for our OT professionals. So there's no data scientist required for this resource. It provides anomaly detection as well as anomaly identification. So anytime there are any deviations from the normal operation of the system, Guardian AI will detect that as well as identify what those deviations are if they're within what we call the first principle faults of failure. And then, of course, all this is done at the edge. So that means that you're getting real-time results at a fast pace. So as I mentioned today, we're leveraging our PowerFlex drives family. So here, these are the PowerFlex drives that are compatible with Guardian AI today. The PowerFlex 755 drives, the 755 TL, TR, and TM drives, our 755 TS drives, as well as our 6000 T drives. Again, there will be additional drives that will be integrated or compatible in some of the later releases, but these are the ones that are compatible today. And you can, if there's an install base of these, or if you are purchasing any of these drives and want to take advantage of Guardian AI and some of that predictive maintenance solution, these are the ones that you can use to integrate Guardian AI. So this is an overview or a highlight of some of the components of Guardian AI and how it works. So from an asset level, the key applications that we're looking at right now that provide the first principle faults are pumps, fans, and blowers. So if you have an application that is a pump, fan, and blower, and it is being controlled by one of the PowerFlex drives that I previously mentioned on the earlier slide, that is a use case for Guardian AI. So the drive is connected to the asset, and then Guardian AI is a piece of software that sits on an edge device, whether that is a Rockwell Awesome 6300 industrial PC edge device, or a compatible third-party edge device, as well as a virtual image. So the software, it's a container software that's on that device. And you connect the drive to Guardian AI software using the IP address of the drive, and then you start doing the training and the modeling of it. And once it identifies any deviations from normal operation, then you'll get some form of an alert. As it stands today, that alert is in the format of an email. And so the user will get an email identifying there's a deviation in a normal operation. And they can then, as well as the identification of what the fault is, you do some confirmation that it's that fault, you resolve it, and then you, inside of the software, you indicate that it's resolved. In a later release, we'll also be able to integrate our fixed CMMS solution. So once these deviations are identified, then it'll be written to fix to have work orders to create work orders for the maintenance for that system. So as I mentioned, Guardian AI doesn't require any type of data science. It's very 4 quick, easy steps and very no code. It does all the machine learning in the background. So the first step, this is your initial setup step. So this is where you would deploy the application on the edge device or the virtual image. You would connect the drive, using the IP address of the drive. And then you would specify what type of asset that the Guardian AI will be monitoring. Once that's done, you move into step 2, and this is where you establish the baseline for the asset. So this is where you put in the parameters for the normal operating parameters for that particular asset, and you start doing the training of the model so that the software gets an understanding of those of the normal behavior. Once that's done, then once the software is done training, it automatically goes into monitoring. So as it's in monitoring, this is a continuous monitoring of the health of the asset, and this is done in the background. So there is no steps required for the user. So as it's monitoring inside of Guardian AI software, you'll also get you'll have a summary of the health of the asset. And then anytime there is a deviation into the normal operation, then that's when the alert comes in. So the user will get alert by email, and the alert will also have, the probable cause of that failure. And so then that's where you go do the investigation, resolve the failure, and then come back into the software and mark it as resolved. And then it will continue to do monitoring. And then next time, if it has another deviation, then you'll get another alert. So very, very simple, easy type of setup, doesn't require a lot, and runs in the background. Our next analytic piece of software or AI software that we're offering is FactoryTalk Logix AI. So this offering is really using a software model that predicts the process values based on your real-time process data. So really focusing on software as a sensor. So again, using Studio 5000, Logix AI is integrated into that. The data is available to you at real time, and you have direct quality control over it. It too is edge based, so it sits on, you have two options as far as where Logix AI can be sitting on an edge device. And it's OT focused, so no low code, no code, integrated directly into the control logics. And it just requires somebody that is familiar with the controls aspect of the system that's running. So as far as the options for Logix AI, the software can be deployed on a compute module, a Linux compute module. So we do have the embedded edge compute module where you can deploy the Logix AI containerized application onto the embedded edge compute module to use Logix AI, as well as the industrial edge computer. So using one of our industrial edge PCs and connecting to control Logix through Ethernet. You can also use Logix AI that way. As far as the workflow for FactoryTalk Logix AI, so as I mentioned, it's Logix AI works completely through Studio 5000. So what you have is in the beginning, you'll have a OT or a person, whether that's a maintenance engineer or somebody that's familiar with the controls of the system. They will configure the software, identify any relevant information for the application as far as what parameters that need to be modeled and trained. So once they do that, and I do the training of it and do all of that identification in the background inside of Studio 5000, then Logix AI will start generating that model. And then it generates the model, and then as it's generating that model, then it'll also go into the monitoring mode. And so Logix AI does the monitoring, and then after that, then the OT professional, they would then do the predictions to know anytime there's any process deviation and what modifications need to be made in order to meet the necessary requirements. So that is Logix AI. And then lastly, we have FactoryTalk Data Mosaics. So FactoryTalk Data Mosaics is our new software offering for industrial data ops and data hub. So what you have here with FactoryTalk Data Mosaics is it connects various IT and OT and ET data, whether that is from historian, edge apps, your controllers. So it connects all of that data and then it integrates it in or ingests it into the data mosaics. And inside of data mosaics, this is where it does the contextualization and the transformation of that data. And so it makes it more valuable so that you can be able to better utilize it and have a visualization of all of that data in a mostly from an enterprise level from several different sites, and be able to make use of that data. So to kind of break that down a little bit, what we have here is it's really broken up into making the data available, making it meaningful for humans, making it useful for the application, and then making it valuable. So from the making the data more available, that again is those data sources. So this can be time series data from your historian, structured data, as well as 3D model engineering data from 3D models and things of that nature. And this is both at the edge, on-prem, or in the cloud. So those data sources are then extracted into data mosaics, and that data is transformed into data objects. And so this is assets, time series, or events. Once that data is made available, then it's the process of making that data more meaningful. So this is, building out the logical representation and seeing how that data is all related. And this can be from time series. This data can be brought in from events and documents. So we think about like PNID drawings and things of that nature. You can do some logical relations for that data. And then it's all put into an industrial data graph. And so that data graph is what gives you that contextualization of the data. So once you have made that data more meaningful, now it's time for it to be useful. And so there are various tools that are available to you to be able to make that data more useful. So again, those tools could be your PNID graphs, 3D models. You have APIs and SDKs that enable you to leverage some of that data, data quality monitoring. This all allows for you to better ensure that you have a good quality of data. And then the last step is making the data more valuable. And so this is done through charting. So you can do different charting inside of data mosaics to kind of make that data more valuable. We have industry apps that sit on top of data mosaics to kind of do some of that dashboarding of the data and have a better understanding of the data across different assets. And then also you can use third-party business applications like Power BI and Grafana that also enable you to do some dashboarding of the data. And then from a data scientist standpoint, you can also do some integration into Jupyter Notebook to do some predictive and prescriptive modeling with that data. So if we were to kind of package it all together and bring it all together, so with the addition of FactoryTalk Optics to, bringing that data or flowing that data up into the cloud or as a connector to getting that data into FactoryTalk Data Mosaics. Data Mosaics really enables the domain experts as well as data scientists the ability to really do some data exploration It can be used for on-the-fly data analysis using the different power trending tools. And then again, as I mentioned at the top, once you have all of the data, you've done some of that contextualization, then you can use custom apps or third-party Rockwell industry apps. So, for example, we have FactoryTalk Energy Manager app that can sit on top of FactoryTalk Data Mosaics for some of that energy management. We have batch performance analytics, as well as asset intelligence. And then we also have a plant PAX analytics application that can sit on top of FactoryTalk Data Mosaics as well to better visualize some of that data. So here, this is just a snippet of FactoryTalk Energy Manager. So with FactoryTalk Energy Manager, it gives you that ability to merge some of the energy data, be able to monitor and compare the energy performance across several different different sites or enterprise. And so there's different pre-built real-time energy performance dashboards that can show things like your energy consumption, total costs, or total emissions. So you can have a better visualization of that that energy data and do some energy management. And then for this is Plant PAX Analytics. So this is the app for Plant PAX that sits on top of Data Mosaic. So from a lower level, of course, it does require the use of Plant PAX on the plant floor. But this gives you that ability to enhance the operational efficiency. So you have this single web-based solution that consolidates multiple process data sources into one application. It increases the production capability. So you have that ability to closely monitor KPIs and reports and be able to do some investigation on production quality and yield. And then it just enhances your visibility into the process data. So to kind of give you an idea of what some of the graphics or the dashboards look like inside of Plant PAX Analytics, this here is just showing you a screenshot of the dashboard for Plant PAX Analytics and some of the data that you might see displayed as far as your alarm counts, your alarm class, different alarm areas. Then you can see, again, this is some information on your alarm class, and you have the ability to be able to download that. Here, this is a snippet of, what the KPIs might look like and how that is visualized inside of Plant PAX. And again, this is across several Plant PAX applications, and it's all bringing it into one solution inside of the cloud on top of Data Mosaics. So these apps like Plant PAX Analytics, Energy Manager, Batch Analytics, and all of those, they do require the use of FactoryTalk Data Mosaics, but sitting these on top and having these pre-built dashboards give you that ability to better visualize that information. And then lastly, just to highlight a couple of resources that are available to you on some of the technologies that I covered today. Several available with FactoryTalk Optics. So on FactoryTalk Hub, there are on-demand demos that are available. So you can open those up and demo different applications inside of FactoryTalk Optics. We do have a public GitHub repository that has sample projects. So that GitHub repository, you can open up different sample projects and integrate those into Optics applications and utilize them or do testing to see how they work. There is an Optics YouTube page. So the YouTube page has different short videos on how to get started with, connecting communication drivers, data logging, and different resources like that. There is an online optics help center. So any technical documentation for optics, or you want to know more about how to do data logging and things of that nature, you can use the online help center for that. We also do have a free FactoryTalk Optics basic course that's available on Learning Plus. So you can take that course and kind of get started on the basics of FactoryTalk Optics, how to create and get started with the application. Additionally, Wayne does have a YouTube page that has several great videos on it that kind of highlight how to do things and different functionalities inside of FactoryTalk Optics there. And then we also have a on-course environment. So this is a cloud-based hands-on lab environment that have several lab offerings for FactoryTalk Optics. There's a lab offering for Logix AI. There will be a Guardian AI one that's coming. But additionally, just outside of the technologies that were mentioned today, any of our offerings, technology offerings that you want to get more hands-on exposure or experience with, there's a number of different available labs on course that provide that for you. So with that, I will hand it back over to Wayne. That is all I have.
Great. Thank you, Shayla. I'm going to start the recording. There was one question. Everybody else, if you have questions, please use the Q&A panel. Perhaps I didn't mention that way back at the beginning.